I'm Captain Mike, and I have some tips, you might say, that I want to share with beginning glass fusers. One of the first things I'm sure you did when you got your kiln and you got hold of some glass, probably some scraps that somebody gave you to play with, is you learn to make these little puddles and moved on to forming pendants and first one thing and another. I did these to make arrowheads out of and stuff like that. But I also have made a lot of pendants. Now, once you get that accomplished, you can do that regularly. You know how they're going to come out and all. You're probably going to move on to trying to slump something. And the other day I had a request to slump 2 bowls out of this mold right here. It's not difficult. I've used it a lot of times before, but it's been quite a while. And I had several other big projects going on when I'm outside building my sawmill, and so my mind was on other things. But I decided I'd get at the project of making the 2 bowls. It was requested that I use some tinted gray float glass for that, because I had made a bowl like that before and someone saw it and said, I like that. So I cut out a few circles. Now this one, of course, is not tinted. It's just regular 1/4 inch plate glass. But I'll just kind of do this to show you where I started. Okay, so I cut out a couple of circles and got, prepped my mold. And I prepped my mold by using some of this glass separator by Unique Glass. It's really good stuff. I use that and I use ZYP sometimes, but I like this because it goes a long ways. And once you put a couple of coats on your mold, you fire it to about 800 degrees and it sets it, it turns it into something else so it won't rub off. And then you'll sprinkle a little bit of this, when you get ready to use it, you'll sprinkle a little of this free on it, which is a powder. I put it in a little sock and I just dab it on like that all over the mold, and it really, really helps. Now, it will work without it, but it works better with it. And of course, when I get ready, I put my glass on top of the mold and I spray it with this Fuse Master Overglaze. That's it. I just spray some on it. Some people use an airbrush. I use a little applicator. So anyway, where am I going with this? Well, where I'm going with it is my mind wasn't working real good, and I stuck it all in my little 110 volt glass kiln, which works great for these projects. You put one project in it and you don't have to wait to fill the whole doggone kiln up. So the first one came out and I was very disappointed. Now, let me mention, I fired this thing too hot. I fired it at a full fuse. And the reason I did that, I was thinking somewhere off in my old adult mind that the glass was thick and that I'd had some problems before, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember, but that's what I fired it at. So the first one came out with a hole in it. See my hole? Ouch. Also got little sticky things around the edge, but there's a hole right here. Now that hole happened partially because there was a mark on the glass. Somebody had hit it with a glass cut or something, I don't know, but there was a bad place. And it pulled down and it left that, plus it left devitrification all around the edge. Normally that's not there, and nor are all those little sharp points that'll stick you. So I had a great idea, and that is pretty much what this is about. I want you to try this if you have any issues. I don't throw anything away. Well, sometimes, and this one may go outside in the failure pile, but I won't bust it. I'll lay it out there with the rest of the stuff for people to ask me what the heck happened. But I said, I got to be able to save that. So I took that and I put it back in the kiln. Excuse me. I put it back in the mold. Like that. Fits in there just perfect. I had cleaned out all the little sharp bits off the edge, and first one thing and another ground them down so it looked nice. Then I took it and I put some frit in the hole there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. In this case, I just took some blue float glass frit. Now, remember that you're going to have to use a compatible glass. This is float glass, window pane glass, but it's close enough to float glass. That's what it is. And I have all these colors. Some of them I bought, some of them I made. These I happen to have bought. And it is float glass frit. So I took this thing and I stuck it in my mold and I canted it sort of at an angle so that it would kind of be flat, okay? And I took a spoon and I just heaped it up. I just heaped up all kinds of frit in that particular place. And once it was there, to keep it from sliding back out, I added a little of this stuff, which I don't really know what all is in it. It's just a whole lot like aloe gel, which will work. This is the thinner stuff, and I don't even thin it with water, thin it with alcohol, whatever. If you try aloe, it's cheaper, but this works good, and I have it, so I use it. So once it dried, it stayed in place. I put it back in the kiln, and this time I fired it at, what did I fire this thing at? I fired it at, not full fuse. Hang on, let me look again. Boom, there it went. Hang on. You do write everything down, right? Okay, I fired it at a deep slump. Duh. Slumping, deep slump, get it? Okay. It was a little cooler, the whole temperatures were a little different. But that's what I fired it at, and guess what? This time it come out pretty doggone good. Well, let me back up a minute. I was working on this patch when I went ahead and refired the bowls I was trying to give away, or not give away, but make for somebody else. And they came out perfect. I don't have them to show you because, boom, they're gone. But that deep slump was perfect. No deviate around the edges, no separation. It just went right straight down in there. So as soon as I got through with those two, I said, I'm going to fire that hole and see if I can't patch it. It's a lot of work, I mean, but we have to do these things because we have to do them. So I put it in there and I fired it, and this is what I got. Now, it's not perfect, but it's kind of like a proof of concept. You've heard me use that word. I wanted just to see if it would work. Probably never do it again, but it did fill in the gap. And I sprinkled a little frit there on the edge. You know, in retrospect, I would have piled lots of frit in here so that it would have been, say, solid blue, solid yellow, solid green, whatever color you wanted. And I would have piled it up higher where it didn't fill the gaps. But you can fire this again. It won't hurt a thing. And then once you fire it again, I fired this at a full fuse because I wanted this to really go down into cracks. But once you get it where you want it and you want to try to get rid of this deviate, fire the whole darn thing over again at a deep slump, see what you get. That's what this is about, see what you get. Probably not one of you wants to fool with this, but I did it so you don't have to, or so you know kind of where to go if you did. So I like these little bowls, and I see some promise there. Even if you don't have the gap, put you some frit in the middle of it, which you sink, it'll be great. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's probably worth making a video on, but I've had this stuff sitting here for a while, and I wanted to make a video on it. So, you know, grab you up some float glass, experiment with it, and you tell me what you found out. Glasses are slipping off my head. You tell me what you've come up with, and then I will learn from you. So I'm Captain Mike. I appreciate y'all watching this video, and if you like it, you know, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. I do this for grins and giggles. I don't monetize, so I appreciate the thoughts when you guys subscribe. Thank you. Hang on for the next video, whatever that happens to be. Thank you.